Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the FTW podcast, the wrestling world in all its laughable glory. Tonight is episode number 147, recorded live on January 15, 2013 on FTWLive.com. I am Harrison, and with me, as always, is Rob. Say hello, Rob.
Hey.
Joe. Say hello, Joe.
I'm back, bitches. I'm back.
And
fucking time.
And Garvin is manning the boards. Tonight, we're going to be talking ADR's world title win, the road to Rock and Punk, Miz possibly adopting the figure four, an evilist WWE results in TNA Genesis, why the Bully Ray Hulk Hogan saga might actually work, and if Aces and Eights can possibly be salvaged. If you're listening through iTunes, YouTube, or your favorite podcast player, make sure to check out ftwpodcast.com for more about us and how to get involved in upcoming discussions. You can also follow us on Twitter, Google Plus, and Facebook. All those links are listed right there on ftwpodcast.com. For you guys listening live tonight here on ftwlive.com, glad you can make it, and let's get rolling. But first, let's dive right into TNA. Last week's Impact led up to Genesis 2013. We had, well, we talked about it a little bit on our Genesis preview show that we did after Impact. And the one thing I do want to lead off with is the huge announcement, really, probably the number one announcement, at least in TNA so far this year, is that the pay-per-view landscape in TNA, they're going to go with 4 basically major storyline pay-per-views. All their rates are dropping, and they're going to have a collection of what they consider one-off pay-per-views or off-brand pay-per-views, kind of like these non-storyline specific pay-per-views that they're going to scatter throughout the year. Seems like the first one is going to be Genesis, which we had. We talked about it a little bit on Thursday. If any of you were there, we're glad you can have it. But really, I want to kick this out to the crowd. Rob, you and I discussed it. Joe, I really want to have your opinion on this because you weren't here last week, and you weren't here on Thursday also. 4 pay-per-views a year. Do you think this is a mistake for TNA, or are you actually excited at that?
This is a jump back to, let's say, the early 80s, or the mid-80s, late 80s, or whatever it was, when WWE was doing only 4 pay-per-views. I like it. I've gone on record saying that, like, WWE does too many pay-per-views, and they do. If they even cut back to even, like, 9 or 10, that'd be good. I was a bit surprised to hear TNA's going down to 4. In this day and age, it almost seems too small. Like, I would see 8, but 4? I mean, I understand it could be a funding thing or something, but, I mean, it makes those pay-per-views so much more impactful, pardon the TNA pun, but it's just, I don't know, it seems too little, like almost that people could forget the TNA pay-per-view product.
Okay, so that's one take on it. Actually, that's a take on it I didn't even consider, but at the same time,
it's, I mean, those pay-per-views are going to be worth a lot more. Let's not kid ourselves.
Oh yeah.
It's not like WWE, who does 13 pay-per-views in 12 months. When September, October comes around, WWE, you get the middle finger for me. I think you fucking suck. You give no help to Hell in a Cell. That's the October pay-per-view, isn't it? It was like Hell in a Cell and like 2 other ones, and it's like, it's too quick. You know, Hell in a Cell, Survivor Series, and something else. It's like, no. You know, you're already doing 3-hour Raws. Don't do it. TNA's doing a good job with what they're doing. I could see them doing this for a year and figuring out if it's going to work in the long run or not.
Okay.
Maybe they'll add a couple more.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see how it goes. But ultimately, it is an interesting sort of tactic when you think about it, because they're scaling back. It's something, again, that we discussed last week, and I think the week before as well. The idea that maybe it would be a good idea, and this is something that we've been rumbling about, you know, in small amounts over the past few months. So again, TNA, listening to our show and taking cues from it. So you can thank us for your pay-per-views, Austin Aries, and didn't we do a third one too? Oh, they stole the draft from us for a little bit, but that kind of went away. So
they stole the draft from us. Then they tried to charge for their draft, and now it's just kind of gone away.
Yeah, they know who pays the bills. It's us. So you better not anger.
We are keeping TNA in business.
Yes, we're supplying all their great ideas. So they know who signs the checks here. All right, so before we lead Impact into Genesis, Rob, how do you feel about Impact as a go-home show for Genesis? Do you think it did well? I mean, it had some interesting segments.
It had some interesting segments. There were a couple, and I mean that as in like literally two good matches. On the whole, as a go-home show, I don't believe it really did what it needed to. I was kind of disappointed by the way this Impact went. There were some good ideas, some good segments, but generally speaking, as you look at the whole show, I was less than impressed.
Yeah, that was the one thing I wanted to say going out of it. It seemed like not a terrible show, just not a very exciting one leading into it. I mean, I think the real thing that killed me for it was the Hogans having that segment in the end. And then, you know what? I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about yet another goddamn wrestling marriage travesty. If it's not Edge, it's terrible. And I don't understand why we have to keep doing this.
Unless there's crazy Kurt Angle with an axe, the wedding's gonna suck.
Okay, that'll work too.
What about what? Go back to Macho Man Miss Elizabeth, man.
But that was legit. That was like
no, that would not. No, they were already married at that time.
No. Yeah, okay, yes, that's true. Yeah.
It was still a kayfabe wedding.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Sorry.
But why are we still shitting on ODB and EY's wedding? I thought that was good. I know we're going back.
Well,
3 months to go get chicken, but
Harrison changed his stance on it when I said, unless we get crazy Kurt Angle with an axe. Harrison said, okay, well, that would make it good.
Cyborg with an axe.
Oh, stop calling him that.
Cyborg with an axe. Hell yes.
I can't believe they reference. They keep calling him that. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, we got that fiasco. But gut check. So we had two. It was kind of weird. So we had two essentially rookies coming in to do their own gut check match. Jay Bradley and Brian Cage, and already I forgot which one looks like what, but whatever. What the really weird thing though was that the crowd was very clearly on Brian Cage's side and booing Jay Bradley, which I thought was weird because their video segments, they didn't really play a face or heel. They played that same cocky attitude. I'm going to make a face, make blah, 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 blah.
I think they were booing Bradley just because he was from Chicago. That's really the only explanation I have. Or
face palm. See? Rob, face, palm, face palm.
I'm telling you, that's literally the only explanation I can come up with. I mean, having seen the segments, like you said, neither one of them was actively face or heel. Both of them had decent move sets. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, it was weird. It was just really, really strange. So, maybe it was piped in or something to get the crowd going. Who knows? Okay, so thoughts on the match itself. I mean, this was the first time that we saw a gut check match between two rookies without having a veteran in there to test them out. How do you think they did?
You know what? When I first heard this, I was like, oh, dear God, you can't throw two rookies in the ring. This is not going to end well. But I actually kind of like that. I thought it went really well, and it adds a whole new dimension to gut check because, now we've got a winner to the match and everything, but next week we've got two people who are going to be facing the gut check judges, and only one of them's going to get a contract. I think this is a real fresh adjustment and change for gut check, and it really got me even more interested in the gut check process now.
Okay. Garv, what'd you think?
I had the same fears going into this that it would be terrible, because we didn't know what we were going to get. But yeah, I thought this was really one of the highlights from Impact. Jay Bradley did fantastic. He totally played into the crowd booing him. It was he was getting a great reaction for what he was doing, and I thought that was great. And he looked fantastic. I know there's been people saying, we want Brian Cage. The live chat is saying that as well. But I don't know. I mean, after that, I almost would rather, I'm going to go with Jay Bradley on this. I think for sure he earned a spot just by how he worked and how he interacted with the crowd. And Brian Cage kind he took.
He really played off of the crowd, like you said, Garvin, and I really got to say, watching him do that, his finishing move, the clothesline from Hell variant, it was really good, really convincing. It almost reminded me of Bradshaw of JBL.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, and just overall, I mean, this new concept of gut check, you throw two guys out there both fighting for a contract type of thing. I like that setup. I think that's nice. It gives you something else to see other than, an obvious loss for the gut check guy against a low to mid Carter.
And not only that, it's good for TNA. It allows them to process more gut check applicants too, because now you're doing two at once as opposed to one at a time.
You guys don't think it's a little too much like Thunderdome?
Thunderdome.
Master Blaster runs by the town.
Exactly. Abyss would be Blaster. Who would be Master?
Hornswoggle?
Hornswoggle? We'd have to get Hornswoggle signed with TNA. When I first saw these were two rookies, I don't know, I didn't have the same reservations that you guys had. I thought, all right, well, these are two guys. What we're going to see is a very, indie-fed type match. It's going to be interesting. They're going to play off the crowd a little bit, but it's not going to be something you'd expect something like AJ and Christopher Daniels or anything like that. So for that reason, I wasn't expecting this to be terrible at all. I thought it would be a decent match because you got to think that's what these two guys do. If they're doing, if they're on the road and they're traveling to different wrestling shows, they got to put together a match that day, and you got to assume that they're going to be like, all right, well, we can't really have an ego here. So
well, I mean, I didn't, I was out of town for work, so I didn't get to see Impact. But I like the idea of two rookies just going at it, and the judges get to pick who out of the two gets the spot.
Just say you were at CES so everyone can be jealous. Just say that.
Yeah, and I have video I need to send you of a Formula One car they had on display.
Oh, is the Ferrari?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw pictures of it. Did you see the... Okay, well, I don't want to get into the... whatever. Anyway, shifting gears from gut check. You know what? I don't want to talk about Bully and proposing to Brooke. I mean, look, the only thing that made me excited about Bully Ray and Brooke this week was the theory, Rob, I think it was you that came up with, that they were angling Bully Ray to basically have that schism between him and Hogan to try and get Bully Ray into aces and eights so they could take it down from the inside.
Schism?
Schism. I love that schism. I love that idea.
Schism?
That wasn't Rob. That was I can't remember. It was a listener.
Oh, it was a listener? Okay. Well, whoever it was. I love the idea.
I'd like to take credit for that idea, but it wasn't mine.
Okay. Good on you. Anyway, whoever it was, great idea. No, we're not getting that. In fact, we're getting the complete opposite. We're getting a fucking what? When he got on one knee, it was just no. We just ended.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
what can I say? Harrison made the joke for me last week that Hogan's just jealous that someone else is doing his daughter. And in this case, I still think it's true.
Yeah, especially with the way he walked off. I mean, the look on his face. Even Sting was like, dude, what are you pissed about? Really?
Really? You don't have to pay for that hair to be bleached over and over and over again?
Yeah, really. All right, well, we're going to get into this more later in the show in Ask FTW. So let's just roll right into Genesis. The first of the new breed of pay-per-views, so to speak. This is what we talked about on Thursday. You can't judge... Yeah, okay, so 2013 is the year the TNA is going to be doing 4 pay-per-views a year. Each one's going to get the build-up. Genesis did not have that. So this isn't the first of the new. This is the last of the old. So you have to think of it that way. That said, how do you feel about the pay-per-view as a whole? I mean, do you think we're starting off 2013? Do you think it did a good job?
There were some interesting things. Like, initially I was ticked off that Chavo and Hernandez kept the tag team title belts, but the teasing of friction between Matt Morgan and Joey Ryan has me intrigued. Are they going to go the same route that they did with Morgan and Hernandez and split up Morgan and Ryan and give Morgan a push towards maybe even main event and world title slots? If so, I'm completely with keeping the titles on Chavo and Hernandez and giving Matt Morgan a push.
See, the only I like that idea, and the reason why I like that idea is not only Joey Ryan get a push and Matt Morgan getting a push, but kind of reviving we've kind of seen the Matt Morgan versus Hogan feud kind of cool a little bit, and I really like it because I like the idea of Matt Morgan just terrorizing Hulk Hogan and wearing more and more Hogan memorabilia.
He has to come out with the fist helmet at some
He
point.
does, right? He does. It'd be awesome. Garv, what'd you think? I mean, did you think that was a low point in the match? Do you like where they went with that match?
I thought it was different. It wasn't what I was expecting. But I mean, the only thing I can think of why they wouldn't go with the title change is just because of what we talked about on Thursday on our Genesis preview, and that is that this is Ryan's first. Well, technically it's his second title match, but still, it's still too early. Although I agree that I don't like the result. I don't like that Chavo is still a champion. He did show up on Sunday. It wasn't a completely bad match from him.
Right. I mean, Ryan is still really brand new to TNA, and as crappy as he usually wrestles, Chavo and Hernandez are getting big reactions from the crowd. They're still very popular. So I guess it makes sense from that angle.
Yeah, I suppose. All right, so from there we have the tag titles still on Chavo and Hernandez. Going forward, I mean, we talked about Matt Morgan and Ryan.
I just love the complete lack of excitement. Still on the title.
I'm not going to fake it. Anyway, Matt Morgan and Joey
That's what
Ryan.
she said.
Welcome back, Joe.
Okay, so Morgan and Ryan, we discussed them. Chavo Hernandez, you think they got longevity now? Do you think the Genesis was kind of a shot in the arm for these two, and then we're going to see them carry maybe to March, or do you see them peeling out and losing momentum?
They're probably. I wouldn't be surprised if they keep the titles until the next major pay-per-view, which is going to be like in March or something, Lockdown. But they definitely,
March, yeah.
They definitely can't carry it past Lockdown.
Okay.
I think they have to lose at Lockdown.
Garv, what do you got? Agree?
I hope that they don't carry it through Lockdown. I think, I mean, really, the tag division has kind of been dead as soon as they got the titles. They took Daniels and Kaz out of the mix, so it was just
right.
Morgan and Ryan and Chavo and Hernandez, and that's not really a good tag division. So, yeah, if they're okay with not doing anything with the division, sure, keep the titles on them. They keep the titles on EY and ODB, so might as well. But if they want to do something positive with the tag titles, then they need to get the titles off of them.
I say waiting until Lockdown because, as we just discussed, the other pay-per-views are going to be non-storyline related, kind of off-brand pay-per-views, and in that time frame until Lockdown, TNA has a chance to start building a tag division. They can put some guys together. They can start building something and maybe give us something exciting to look forward to at Lockdown.
Well, that's actually, so we'll be discussing that later on in the show, or at least later on in the segment when we dive into the actual the actual pay-per-views coming up. But there is a tag team specific one that has already been taped, so you can read spoilers and find out what's going on, but at least they're going to be doing something with it. All right, so we got Mr. Anderson and Samoa Joe in a, oh crap, these two got to be on camera, match. Rob's favorite guy, Mr. Anderson.
I do like Mr. Anderson, I'm sorry,
yeah, I'm sorry, go on.
My problem with Mr. Anderson is he does need to start upgrading his ring work. I mean, in this day and age, with how good the camera work is, watch a Mr. Anderson match. He lets go of his opponent halfway through the neck breaker, man. And he does the neck breaker every match, and halfway through he lets go and then tries to grab onto him again. He's got a good character idea. He can do some things on the mic, but damn, he needs to up his ring work a bit.
Well, Garv, I know you're also a huge fan of Mr. Anderson. What do you think about him picking up the win over Samoa Joe?
I'm okay with the result, but just to go back to what Rob was saying, Rob, Anderson has had his entire career to improve his work, and he has failed to do it.
This is true. This is very true. I'm not hopeful that he will improve it. I'm just saying.
All right, so the other thing we had in Genesis was the lead up and the defense of the X Division. We had Kenny King versus Christian York with the winner facing RVD. We were almost unanimous picking Kenny King, thinking that because of the heat he had coming out, Christian York was, new and everything, but Kenny King has put his bumps in a lot longer. He deserves it. And then RVD, well, basically, whoever it landed on, RVD would clearly drop the title. We picked Kenny King. Neither of those things happened. Christian York went on to lose to RVD.
Well, that's not completely accurate.
Well,
at least I said if Christian York won, he wouldn't defeat RVD. I just didn't think York was going to beat Kenny King.
Yeah, you don't get halvesies on this one.
I'm just clarifying.
It's one of those things that, it kind of makes sense.
When we have when we have matches like this setup where you have somebody who's a match that's going to set up another match later on the card, we basically need to play this thing like the Choose Your Own Adventure book.
If this guy wins,
if you choose Christian York, turn to page 65.
You have been eaten by alligators.
If you think,
you have been eaten by alligators, exactly.
If you think Kenny King is going to win but lose to RVD, turn to page 54.
All right. We
have been flushed down the drain.
We can figure that out later. The question I have is, does this make more sense given that we have the TNA Extravaganza that was taped a few days ago, which is going to air in April, which is one of those supplemental pay-per-views, kind of building up the X Division. Keep in mind, it's going to air in April.
Yeah, I guess it kind of makes sense. I mean, we're building up. They used the match to build up a rivalry between King and York. They're really pushing King heel with the after-match attack. The RVD Christian York match was interesting. They really played up what Christian York can do, even hurt. They still gave him, they still had him basically giving RVD a run for his money. All in all, the matches told a good story. So it's not a total fail from that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same point in time, they really need to start building up the X Division a little bit more and find somebody that RVD can drop the title to.
Okay. When do you think that would happen? 2 months, 3 months? You think we're waiting all the way to March? Do you think we're going to be waiting longer?
Either lockdown or the pay-per-view in April.
Gar, do you agree?
I am struggling to believe that they would put, that they would change a title on one of those mini pay-per-views. It would make it more interesting, but it does put a kink in current storylines if they're taping it so far in advance. I mean, we're talking 3 months in advance for this one.
Yeah.
If there's a title change, then I don't know. That's kind of weird because then RVD's still going to be holding the title up to that point, even though he's technically lost it prior to that point.
Okay. Yeah,
it's just weird, but
weird.
But overall, yeah, I'd like to see the title off of RVD, and I think it's going to happen before lockdown or that special pay-per-view.
Okay, cool. All right, so the next one we have up is Devon taking up Joseph Park in in Joseph Park's debut wrestling match. After his brief stint in OVW. We all picked Devon to win. Devon won. How do you guys feel about the fact that Aces and Ace kind of picked up some steam here, maybe? Taking down Joseph Park? Basically,
I love this match. I really did. I love the part where Devon was taunting him and actually gets down in the 4-point stance and goes amateur wrestling, and Joseph Park actually out-wrestles Devon and hits him with a wrestling takedown. I was laughing my ass off. I thought they really... I liked what they did with Joseph Park. He looked a little bit more confident. They didn't let him get the win because it takes more than a couple of weeks of training to be an actual pro wrestler. And the match showed that. But at the same point in time, it was a marked departure from Joseph Park's earlier matches where he just got the shit kicked out of him. And Aces and Eights picked up some steam here too, obviously, because they got a legitimate win. without cheating.
Yeah.
But did you expect anything different out of this match? I mean, obviously everybody picked Devon, so no. But, it just seems like it's like Miz taking on the Miz girl. I mean, like, to that extreme. It just seems like to give Joseph Park a win at this point is just idiotic. So there's no way they could have done it.
Well, no, the question wasn't so much giving Joseph Park the win. The question lied in, do you give Devon a clean win? Or do you have aces and eights interfere? Do you have, how are you going to play this one? And the fact that it played out the way it did, I think you got to, at some point, you got to pull the trigger on aces and eights and have them start to rack up legitimate wins in some of these things. And it feels like that
legitimate is that win? I mean, does it really count?
Does it really count if it's Joseph Park? Not really. You get half a point for that one, but still, it's something. I mean, it's a step in it's a step in a direction.
And I don't know, because while it's a foregone conclusion to most fans as to who is going to win, when Joseph Park hits the Black Hole Slam and does the whole Abyss thing and picks Devon up for the chokeslam, even I was thinking, holy shit, they might actually let him win this match. Especially with the way the pay-per-view had gone before. I was like, I swear to God, if I lose this match too, I'm quitting.
We'll just get an email from you telling us that you quit.
I am not picking any more matches. No.
All right, Garb, if you had to speculate on what this would mean for the Aces and Eights storyline going forward, where do you think it lies? Just in more of a feud between Devon and Joseph Park, or what are you thinking?
I'd imagine it's just a blip in the radar. I don't think it has anything to do with them in general. At least at this point in the storyline. I think eventually when, Joseph Park can pick up momentum, it's obvious that he's going to go after Aces and Eights. So, I don't see this being the end of it. I think, once he gets some more training or whatever they're going to put him through, we're going to see it again and see him, at least look like he could pick up a win over Devon or anyone else in the Aces and Eights. So I think at this stage it's just a blip in the radar. It's nothing. It's inconsequential to what's going on.
One quick question for you guys: do you think that the Abyss character is now dead?
I hope not, but the longer they keep running with Joseph Park, the more I kind of fear that it might be. But then again, they keep having Joseph Park channel Abyss. So it's kind of like TNA. It's like TNA at times with the Aces and Eights storyline. I think TNA is debating. They don't really know, do we want to keep Joseph Park? Do we want to go and bring Abyss back? And so they're trying to walk that line.
I mean, I think you've got a good point there, Rob, but it's like, it's still the same guy behind the character. So do you see... I mean, it's not like you're going to ask him to, like, why don't you do all Jeff Hardy's moves? You know what I mean? They're going to have to use a lot of the same move set.
I would like to see that just for sheer comedy.
Okay, just be Paul London. Drop the Abyss gimmick and be Paul London.
What
if
you
see him hitting a 450? Really?
I'd pay money to see the man he hits.
Killing both of them. Okay, so the question is, just to throw it out there, what if they're retconning Abyss? What if what we're seeing is the origin story for the Abyss character, and what we saw before is, you laugh, but they do it in comic books all the time.
Right, so we're going to actually end up seeing Impact end, and it'll be Ultimate Impact.
Exactly.
Like Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yes, and then they're going to be on the moon, and there's going to be
Ultimate AJ Styles.
Yes, they're going to battle and go up against Silver Surfer.
Ultimate Christopher Daniels. Now, I'd pay to see that.
but I don't know. At some point, yeah, we like Joseph Park because of he's Abyss. I mean, that's why we like him. So it's like seeing the Undertaker in his American Badass gimmick. It's like, can you just come back out to the smoke and the bong and everything? And I mean,
smoke and the bong.
The bong from the bong. I get what you're saying, yes. So the other thing we had is the gauntlet match for the the knockout title #1 contendership. It was a gauntlet match style. It had Velvet Sky, Mickie James, Gail Kim, ODB, and Miss Tessmacher. Velvet Sky won. Question is, do you see good things from the Knockouts division with the way this happened? I mean, this is all pretty good talent that they had in the ring right there. How do you feel about it?
I think there is. Gail Kim, they kept making reference to the fact that, she was the first Knockouts champion and that she originally won the Knockouts title in a gauntlet match. And she had won a gauntlet match another time. So I like the fact that they kept Gail Kim as a strong, viable option for winning. I don't think ODB is ready to get a knockout title shot yet. I would have liked to see her do a little bit better than she did, but I have no problem with Tessmacher and Mickie James basically crashing and burning because they've already had a few shots at the belt. Miss Tessmacher, I feel, needs a little bit more work before she's knockout title material. And out of all of them, I think Velvet Sky is the most deserving person for the Knockouts title. If I were TNA creative, I would be gearing towards booking her to be the Knockouts title, the Knockouts champion. So all in all, I think it was a great match, and I'm a huge fan of gauntlet matches.
Awesome. Garb, agree or disagree? You like Vicky Sky? Did she like Velvet Sky coming up as the next Knockout champion?
No, not in this circumstance. Only because I thought Gail looked so awesome. Like I'm sorry, Rob, and I know I'm going against the grain for a lot of people, but obviously I'm pro Velvet Sky in that I'd like to have her hold the title around Lockdown, but at this stage, there still isn't a whole lot of movement. So Velvet Sky is obvious. But you have Gail Kim, who kicked ass in that match. She looked fantastic. This was the first TNA match for Gail Kim where I thought she was like she was the women's wrestler that I thought she was supposed to be. I thought she was fantastic in this match consistently. She went however long that was, 15-minute match. I think that's great.
She was one of the first two in, so she wrestled the entire gauntlet match.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, with that said, I would have rather seen Gail Kim win and be like a success story in that sense, so that there is an obvious other contender. With Gail losing, we're going back to Velvet Sky versus Tara, and it's just a two-person race, and we'll probably not see the knockouts again, like we haven't seen multiple knockouts the last couple months.
Maybe yes, maybe no. I would expect that in this coming Impact, Gail Kim can still make an argument. I mean, like I said, she was one of the first two people in. She was in the entire gauntlet match. I think she can pull the heel move and say, hey, I was in the entire match. Velvet Sky got lucky. It was a fluke. I want a rematch. There are still ways you can go from here.
Yeah, and the only other thing that I have against Velvet in this sense is that what did she do? She came back the same night that Mickie James came back and interrupted her, and she beat Gail Kim at Genesis, who already wrestled 3 other matches. So it's not like she's as powerful or as strong going into this title match as she should be. So that's the other reason why I'm against Velvet winning this match.
Okay, well, my only opinion is the love that I have for Velvet and Tara has been well documented on this podcast, so I'm just going to abstain from this one. James Storm and Christopher Daniels. You
were going to say Reeve, weren't you?
No. What I was going to say is Lance Storm versus Christopher Daniels.
I was expecting Christopher Reeve, I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to take a pot shot at Rob because he did it again on Thursday. James Storm versus Christopher Daniels. We all picked James Storm because we thought he was on a tear, deserves to get in the main event, and this would be a great way to build some heat for him. Daniels won. Thoughts on this one? Real quick. I mean, what quick opinion on this one? Because, I mean, grand scheme of things, do you think this hurts James Storm as a character? Or do you think that this could be a feud?
No, I don't think it'll hurt the character too much. I mean, Daniels won by shenanigans as per usual. Overall, it won't hurt, but I wonder what the fuck TNA is doing with this. Are they pushing Daniels or what?
But that's the thing, Rob. What are they doing with James Storm? It's like every time he has a good opportunity, to do something good, he gets the shaft every single time. It's like they build him up only to have him lose, and this makes James Storm look weak, regardless of how the win was. I disagree with you that only because of how they've built James Storm and how they keep destroying him.
I can see that argument. I mean, it's like TNA said, "Come on back. We're treat you different this time," and by different we mean we're not going to treat you any differently at all. We're going to screw you over every chance we get.
It's okay, baby. I still love you. I'll treat you real nice. We'll take you out to dinner. We're going to go to Sizzler. I'll let you buy 3 appetizers. How's that sound? You want dessert, baby? I'll take care of you. I'll make it rain.
Yeah, nothing sets off a good steak like ketchup.
Okay, Garth, go on.
But I will say, outside of the result and what they're doing, James Storm, this was my match of the night. I thought what they did was great, and if they're leading to a rematch in the next couple of weeks, I'm all for it.
I'm for it because, yeah, Garth, I'm with you. It was a phenomenal match, and it kind of highlights that one thing that Christopher Daniels seems to be only as good as the guy he's facing, and it always seems that his best matches come from AJ. So the idea that he could have a great program with somebody that isn't AJ Styles, you can't help but think that's awesome. So him versus James Storm, yes. I mean, yeah, as long as they keep putting out quality work, yeah. Otherwise, we're going to have to see Christopher Daniels versus AJ again, and they are really just scraping the bottom of the barrel as far as storylines they can have these two go at. I mean, they went to the basement with that story, with that. Oh,
I hear the next match they have together is a wife swap match.
They might have to at this rate, Joe. They're going to have to whip that one out. All right, so Sting versus...
whip that one out. Hey-oh.
Da-da-da-da-da-da. Bam. Doc versus Sting in Sting's first match since his latest return that he never really let. Okay, Sting won. There's no chance in hell Doc is going to win this one. Garv, what did you think about the match?
Awful. This was the worst match of the night. It did not deliver anything.
Whose shoulders do you put that blame on?
Go on, Garv.
Sting. I would put it on Sting. I mean, he hasn't been back. I mean, you take a few weeks off and then you come back and have a match, and take a few weeks off and you come back and have a match. I mean, that's going to happen.
Yeah. No, you can tell the ring rust was there. I wouldn't lay. I'd say 80, maybe 70% Sting.
But I mean, what was it? A 5-minute match?
Okay, so 3.5 of that minute, 3.5 of that match was it sucked. It was just bad. It was. For what it was Sting's first match since his return. You know, he's a Hall of Famer. They kept going on about it. He's like, basically they booked him in every single Aces and Eights run-in as the savior of TNA. And then he was like, almost like Hogan's enforcer, his go-to guy when this shit goes down, send out Sting. And I mean, because you were talking about it, Sting comes down with a bat and he clears the ring of like 6 guys. And It's like, and this is the first match since that, and this is what we get.
Yeah, Yeah, this match really pissed me off because Thursday night I had gone on about the good conditioning Sting usually keeps himself in and how he can afford to take some time off, still come in and deliver a quality match. And this match just completely fucking shot a hole in that argument. Doc was out of shape and obviously wasn't ready for a match. But I think that's partially due to the fact that TNA hasn't had him in an actual match. They've had him, in kind of like your street fight, run in, beat the crap out of people type thing. So it's on both of them a little bit, but I put it a little bit more on Sting's shoulders as to why this was a crappy match. And I don't know if the match was intended to be that short or if they had to cut it short because Sting just ran out of gas.
If they had to cut a short Sting run, I guess that's great foresight. I'm kind of thankful for that because I can't imagine what would happen if this thing went on 2 minutes longer.
Yeah.
Would you have rather watched
running
Sting
down to
versus
the
Jeff
right.
Hardy?
Yeah,
Longer,
because at least Jeff Hardy's in shape. This is
No, I meant the drug-induced Jeff Hardy.
Jeff Hardy from 12 months ago, from 14 months ago.
Right.
It'd be like watching a match in slow motion. So you'd get to see every little detail. Yeah, there were a lot of breathers in this one. All right, so let's start taking shots at Sting and Doc. Okay, so one last thing before we move on. Moving forward, do you keep putting Sting as like the central TNA talent when it comes to the TNA versus Aces and Eights storyline? Do you
no.
keep doing? You back up? Okay, so you don't. Then one by one, who would you do instead? Rob.
Bully Ray.
Okay, Garvin.
Who would I do first?
Who would you put in that position instead? I'm sorry,
Which
Garvin.
position?
Garvin, when you're done taking him out to dinner and the candlelight in front of that Nora Ephron movie, and you're sitting there underneath the blanket and you just look into his eyes, who do you put in that position, Garvin?
Velvet Sky and Spooning.
I thought he would pick ODB because she's down with the beard.
Well, that's reverse spooning, I guess. Anyways,
I mean, if she's down with the beard, does she have a beard herself? Hell.
Well, who's the little spoon? Garvin, who would you put as the TNA savior, enforcer, that kind of archetype that Sting has been in for the past few weeks?
I would be the little spoon, and I would put Samoa Joe.
You would be the little
Samoa
spoon?
Joe's a good
No, screw Samoa Joe.
choice, too.
Little spoon, really?
With
What?
ODB?
With ODB, yes.
Do you have any other choice?
Oh, yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, ODB. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I'm sorry.
Keep up with the conversation, Harrison.
Well, no, because, all right. Sorry, I didn't have a shot. Joe, if you had to pick, who would it be?
It's a tough one. Bully Ray's a good pick. Samoa Joe's a good pick. Your options are just... You know what? Joey Ryan. Give him something else to do.
You're
What?
going to take a heel and make him a good guy now?
No, it's just the idea that you would take... Not that. It's Joey Ryan. Hogan's like, you know what we need? Sting ain't cutting it. We need Joey Ryan.
We need a
You
smart
get that
some
little
sleaze.
smart ass.
You get him in my office right now, goddammit.
Oh God, he's back on the rocking horse.
You see him, that's how he
That's how
comes
we're
in.
saved, TNA, damn it. We will creep those biker bastards out and have them run.
I don't know. I want to see something a little more unorthodox.
Okay, to that point,
I mean, you saw, like, not to jump over to WWE on this, but when they had the WWE versus the ECW WCW alliance, you did have heels fighting for the
true.
WWE side. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking at it like that.
Okay, that's a fair point. Yeah, you can't rule out heels entirely. All right, Garv, you got a responder, rejoiner.
This is from the live chat. What about Rob Terry? Could he fit that role?
That could be an interesting choice, really.
Only if we destroy Robbie. Because really, coming down to the ring in that sweater.
Yeah, it's
Well, they're kind of moving in that direction already. They're showing signs of division between Robbie E and
I'm
Robbie
sorry, but Aces and Eights, you're not on the list.
E. There's your catchphrase right there. You're not on the list.
Damn, he's not too fast. I mean, he's talented. He looked really good on Thursday. But I think it's too fast. If we're gonna take heels and have him fight for TNA, why not Austin Aries? The crowd's
Because Austin
hot at him.
Aries has already said he wouldn't do it. Austin Aries is already making that the central point of his heel gimmick right now, is that he fought Hogan's fight for him and got nothing in return, got screwed over because Hogan wanted to get behind Jeff Hardy.
Exactly, but that is the exact setup to every 1980s action movie starting Arnold Schwarzenegger. You have Austin Aries fishing in Montana. Then Hogan walks up in a suit and goes, "You're a hard man to find, Austin Aries," and then pulls off his aviators. That is the exact beginning to Commando, and it would work. You want to know why? Because that movie was awesome.
That's pretty much the beginning of the Marine as well.
Yeah, there you go. It's every single action movie trope where the guy, I'm telling you, Austin Aries is like, I don't want to fight your battles anymore, Hogan. I'm done with that shit. Or, the grizzled Vietnam vet. Oh, it'd be awesome.
With no legs.
With no legs. He comes in a wheelchair. Lieutenant Dan. All right, Garth.
Cybernetic legs, and he fights the villains.
Whips him off and beats him with it.
Another note, Bully Ray kind of did that, though. He was a heel and basically took sides with TNA.
But that made him face, though.
That's what happens when you insert yourself into a Hogan.
And we're done. Thank you, everyone, for watching the show. We record every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Who the heck? Wow.
And we won an award in spite of this.
God damn.
Hey, I wasn't on the show when we won that award. That's probably why.
Woo! Woo! He is back, folks. All right, so we gotta roll. Jeff Hardy versus Austin Aries and Bobby Roode. Jeff Hardy won, to the surprise of no one. We keep talking about, okay, yeah, he deserved it. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, when does that start getting stale? When does he drop the title? Do we see him drop it in March? Do we see him drop it 3 months later? Just real quick so we can move on and discuss the news. Garvin.
I actually don't see them taking it off of him for a while, as long as the rumors are not true that he's leaving once his contract is gone. I never heard whether or not that if he resigned or not, but that's been on every single news site over the last 2 months, is whether or not he's going to jump ship. But if he stays, I think the title is going to stay with him.
Okay, Rob, you agree?
Yeah, I really do. Unfortunately, though I don't see why he would be leaving anytime soon. TNA's met all of his demands, even pushing his horrible, horrible album. God, my ears started bleeding listening to that. But yeah, they're going to stay with Jeff Hardy for the foreseeable future because as crappy a wrestler as he is in the ring, he gets reaction like you wouldn't believe. And TNA sees dollar signs.
Okay. Yeah, I understand that, but at the same time, you got to wonder at what point does TNA like the idea of, because part of Hardy's allure, especially during Bound for Glory series, was his redemption, his climb to the top, and you almost wonder if that sells almost as many T-shirts. The idea that he's going to go get his belt back. I mean, there is that to be said too.
Which
so
one?
For me,
he's got 2 of them.
Okay, he's going to get his old belt back. They're going to wheel it out from storage, and we're sitting there holding up the paper towels, and they're just going to pull that out, dust it off, and then bring it out and toss it to him. Joe?
Well, let's say Hardy has been carrying both belts. Let's not deny that fact.
Right.
And Rob, are you sure it wasn't military experiments that are making your ears bleed? No, it's got to be Jeff Hardy's album. And I think Jeff Hardy will hang on to it until Aces and Eights actually gets a number 1 contender.
Okay, so that's an interesting idea.
I think they're going to take it, and then Bully Ray is going to be the one to retrieve it.
That's an interesting idea. I like that idea.
It'd be interesting to see.
Okay. All right, so as far as Genesis predictions go, we had a winner. I'm not going to announce him because he's not on the show, and he probably just picked names out of a hat or had a hamster pick it for him. I don't care. It was Mike. Who gives a shit? All right, so yeah, he won prediction. I'm willing to bet he just pulled out all those picks. No, he says he gets someone from the Torch to help him, doesn't he? He gets a ringer. We can't count Mike's. I'm putting a motion on the table. I'm calling attention the 4 godfathers of the FTW podcast. I'm putting a motion on the table. We strike Mike's predictions from the record because he's bringing in the PW Torch as a ringer. Second.
I think that's fine, especially after his big wine fest after the season 3 of the draft. So yeah, Mike is now invalid for everything.
Yeah,
second and third.
You pick based on your own insights in TNA. You can't get somebody to help you.
Okay, Garvin.
Plus, he did kind of wait until like the last minute. He couldn't get his picks in before we did the show. He had to wait till the weekend. That's kind of unfair.
All right. Oh, it's unanimous. Then all of Mike's picks are stricken from the record. I am totes looking forward to how much he's gonna bitch about this now. Oh.
Mike, bitch about something? Come on, that's got to be like breathing.
That never happens.
I used to work with him in customer service. It was the greatest job ever at how much he would complain. It was. He is so creative when it comes to making fun of people.
Is he good at saying, would you like fries with that? Or is...
Well, no, we didn't work at a place like that. But yeah. All right, so news. As we mentioned, that the pay-per-view shakeup at TNA, seems like Genesis is going to be the only TNA pay-per-view that will actually be held inside the Impact Zone. All of the others will be on location in some capacity. What that's going to be, we don't know. Probably more hockey arenas, things like that, until they can actually grow. Thoughts on this, real quick, they're being on the road. Is anybody going to recant? Because it seems like we're unanimous in the idea that TNA needs a tour.
My only complaint with TNA touring, and this is, I would love to see them tour. I'd love to see them hit some of these smaller arenas. The speculation that came out for, was it supposed to be Genesis, the one they were doing in the huge, 60,000 seat arena in Texas?
No,
Lockdown.
that was, yeah, it's lockdown.
It's going to be lockdown, right? That they're going to do lockdown at this thing. Yeah. Have you seen the floor layout?
Oh no, it's
they're
the same one. It's the same one they use for boxing.
They're only using a quarter of the building.
It's actually, no, it's less than a quarter of a building. It's like a sixth of the building.
Yeah.
They're actually curtaining. They're going to be curtaining off two sides of the ring.
Yeah. Like. It's the same. From what I understand, it's the same. The stadium is going to be set up the same way it does if they're going to be hosting a boxing match. So I guess.
Well, you think you'd want the boxing ring? I don't know, in the center of the building.
Well, then you're going to have these really weird long walks. I mean, you're talking about instead of
it looks really pitiful. I don't think they should try to hit big arenas like that. Not until they know they've got the ability to. I mean, there's a 5,000 seat arena 20 minutes away from, or not even 20 minutes, 15 minutes away from me, 10, 15 minutes away from me. Garvin sat there and watched the first TNA house show with me. Didn't you, Garvin?
Yeah, it was good times.
Yeah. That would be the perfect setting, I think, for a TNA pay-per-view on the road. 5,000 to 6,000 seat arena where you can fill it.
I've gone on record saying it new. Well, no, I'm sorry. Go on, Garvin.
Well, what everyone tries to blame it on is, just the lack of fans to fill out more. But what if it's just because of their technical capabilities? They're stuck on this one-sided camera. They're not shooting from every angle. So what if the reason why they're doing this is just because they don't want to spend the money yet to build out their production so that they can shoot from more sides?
Because that's stupid. Because I've watched. I watched what they. I watched it. No. When I sat Slammiversary, I watched them. They do the same thing that WWE did. They had the crane. The crane is even fucking.
I get motion sensor.
More annoying to the fans than the WWE crane camera. They had the people to cover it. It's just.
Well, I'm gonna go on record again.
If it's an equipment thing, well, someone's gonna have to get a loan for something because having only 2 cameras for your entire company is really gonna suck ass after a while.
Especially if one of them breaks. Have the one guy running down the aisle to get the close-up of Austin Aries.
It's like Detroit with their helicopters.
Yeah, exactly.
The city of Detroit, their helicopters. They can't afford them. 2 of them are in Hawk.
All right, so, I'm going to go on record and say it again. I still think that college campuses are the way to go, because then you'll have a ready-made audience for this within a walk of the location that you're going to be doing that at. You knock down ticket prices, you get with the student union. You're going to tell me all those frat boys are going to turn out when they see some of these knockouts? Hell yeah, they'll be there. And that crowd,
they've got 2 knockouts worth looking at. Come on.
Okay.
3.
They're all going to, all those guys are going to pre-party. The place is going to be rowdy. It's going to be incredible. So I don't see why they can't do that. Just do a college tour. But anyway, the other one is we're going to run down.
Drunken frat boys lining up for ODB.
I would hate that so much. The themes for the one-night-only pay-per-views. These are the off-brand pay-per-views, not the big 4. These are the others. We have the TNA Extravaganza, which is all the stars of the X Division. It's going to be airing in April, already taped. TNA Joker's Wild Tag Team Special, featuring enemies teaming in a Battle Royale final. the enemies teaming, I do want to say we talked about that a lot on this show about a year ago. That also has been taped and will air in May. TNA Hardcore Justice 2, another ECW reunion-style hardcore show featuring hardcore stipulation matches, bringing in ECW talents. We're still going to that well. TNA 10 Reunion. It stars from the early days of TNA battling inside a six-sided ring. TNA Knockouts Knockdown. It's a one-night knockout tournament with the first round being all stipulation matches and the final four in a, quote, test of their stamina to see who the victor is. I'm hoping it's not like putting their hand on a car. If they take it off, they win. Or if they lose.
All the stamina jokes. They're flood. I can't pick one.
Do one before you have an aneurysm.
I can't do it.
Okay. TNA International Incident one-night tournament featuring talent from the United States, India, Mexico, Ireland, Canada, barely international, Germany, Japan, and the UK, with the winner earning a TNA title shot. TNA X Division World Cup tournament. 4 teams of X Division wrestlers in a one-night tournament featuring singles, tag, 6-man, and 8-man tag bouts. And then the final one, and this one... Okay, TNA World Cup of Wrestling. Okay. 4 teams, each captained by a TNA wrestler featuring a heavyweight wrestler, a tag team, and an X Division wrestler battling in singles, tag, and stipulation bouts. The finale will be a 2-ring, triple chance battle royale. So the question is, this is like every possible combination of a wrestling match, right? I mean, is there just going to be a one-on-one 15-minute match?
No, one-on-one. It's 4 teams.
All of these are like crazy stipulations.
My big problem with all these, I like the idea. The problem is they're all taped 3 months in advance.
Well, 2 of them have been. Oh, we don't know.
2 of them have been. That's stupid. That's incredibly stupid.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you.
I get it. If it was like you're not going to show anybody with a title. Well, there's going to be like 3 months of possible storyline changes.
Yeah.
What do you do? Keep the commentary off until the very end, until like 2 weeks beforehand, and then tape the commentary then?
Austin Aries flies to the air, but as you know, Austin Aries just recently off of his career-ending injury on Thursday appeared for one night only before he enters retirement 4 days from now.
With a broken leg. That's guts for you, ladies and gentlemen.
There it is right there, folks. My, those painkillers are doing a number on him. I cannot understand how this is possibly... Mike, this is terrible. I cannot believe we're doing this. Anyway, the pigeons are loose tonight.
Either that or Taz tapes his audio, then quits, and they can't overdub him, so they got like... So it's like, well, it's time to let the pigeons loose. Oh my god! They get Joey Styles in there to do it for a little bit and just fill in like it's Taz and nobody comments on it, or...
No, you just have a Taz machine. It's just a machine, like they have at like early morning, morning zoo drive time.
Just a drop machine?
No, you just have a button that plays all of his catchphrases, and he's just like, just hit it.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
Exactly.
You're the girl of my dreams.
So it seems like, it's an interesting idea. It's definitely not what I thought they were going to do with those off-brand pay-per-views. I thought we all were wondering, are they just going to be smaller? Are they going to be basically a middle step between Impact and a pay-per-view? And really, it seems like what they're doing is putting wrestling and not storylines in the forefront with a lot of these. It's an interesting experiment, and I think it's going to be really, really cool to watch. Garv, what do you think?
Yeah, I like every single theme that they have going on, but what I don't understand is, like, why am I going to watch it now? Like, it doesn't really matter when I watch it, because it doesn't seem like they have to do with anything else. At the same time, the only pay-per-view that you listed here that had a title shot added to the stipulation was one. There was one. So what are the other ones for? Like, what's the purpose?
They're just one-off. I mean, they're only like, how much are these things going to be?
Give us money, please.
It's $15 for TNA talent being put into really, really interesting storylines, and we don't know. I mean, look, the idea that maybe these will be storyline based. I mean, I like the I think the Knockouts and Knockdown could have really big, storyline situation. It could have, big repercussions in the storyline for the Knockouts division, especially the World Cup ones, which I like, because, the World Cup's coming up, but still, it's so confusing how they're doing it. It seems interesting. The only thing, I can't see, why tape it? Does that seem odd to anybody else?
Because it costs more money to do it live.
Does it? But does it really? If you're not traveling, if you're doing it from it's the same.
Yeah, there's still an added expense to it. If you do it and tape it, you're not having to pay for that additional broadcasting and the back redundancy that you need to have for that. I don't know. I'm not in TV production.
It could also be a scheduling issue, especially with the Hardcore Justice 2. A lot of these ECW stars that might be there aren't currently under contract for TNA, so TNA has to get them down to Orlando when they're available.
And you have guys like Sabu who are in such huge demand right now across the country that you'd have to make sure you schedule around them. The only
Raven and Tommy Dreamer managed to continue wrestling.
Okay, yeah, all right. The only thing I could think of is that by doing it taped all at once, like doing it in a batch, so you have like the tag team special and then the extravaganza, you knock them out at the same time, that kind of cuts down the cost. The fact is, when they do these pay-per-views, they don't get the advertising profits from it at all when they do pay-per-views, so it's all pay-per-view buys and stadium tickets. So that's the only thing I can think of is that, when they do pay-per-views, they just don't make the money on advertising anymore. From the network.
It's gonna. It's basically
and DVD sales.
And DVD sales, but that's amortized. That's later on down the line. You can't recoup that right away. That won't keep the lights on this month.
Isn't that pretty much just like how they were doing Impact in the first place, though?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Taping it 2 weeks ahead.
Yeah, but but the thing is, they've been going live since then, and they've really hit home the fact that TNA is now live, Impact is now live, and the pay-per-views traditionally, as far as I can remember, pay-per-views have always been live. So it seems weird that you would do, first off, that you would do taped at all, let alone taped in the age of the internet when, like Garvin was saying in the pre-show, we have spoilers now. So it's one of those things where it's like, I can't see, other than maybe cost, why you would do this.
Yeah, especially since I was watching TNA's channel on YouTube, posted an interview that JB did with Dixie Carter, and she was a big fan of live broadcasting. She went on record and said, Impact and TNA are going to be broadcasting live as long as I have any say in it.
Okay, so
maybe she doesn't have any more say.
Maybe.
Well, regardless, I think we're reading the tea leaves a little deep here. We got 2 pay-per-views in April and May that have been officially taped. We don't know about the other ones. We don't know the order of the other ones. So who knows what it's going to be. In other news, Rosita was released. Remember her? Yeah, I thought so.
I thought she worked for WWE. Didn't I get the wrong one?
No.
No, I'm thinking. Okay, never mind.
The wrong one? Oh, Joe.
The wrong woman. My God, man.
Oh, all right.
I was thinking Rosa. Rosa, not Rosita. Okay, I'm sorry.
There you go. Okay, yeah, all right. So, what a better way to close out your TNA Week in Review. So that is the show. Why not check out FTWpodcast.com for more information about us and how to get involved in the future. Our new and totally awesome site is up and live. We've posted our links to our iTunes page where you can see us and rate us higher than, not just better than any wrestling podcast, any podcast. Screw you, Adam Carolla, we're coming for you. Rate us 6 stars, people. 6 stars, make it happen. And you can, other ways to support us, Stitcher, things like that. We appreciate any help that we can get, obviously. You guys got us an award, so thank you very much for that. Thank you, everyone in the live chat. You guys were awesome. Also, keep in touch on the FTW Draft, ftwdraft.com for news and notes about that, plus, our Facebook, Twitter, and Google Plus page. So you can find out all the updates on that and what's going on with the draft. We record every FTW podcast episode on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time at ftwlive.com. See you next Tuesday.